Hey, it's another little Wayne bite, and in honor of March 14th, Pie Day, I made a pie. It starts off with my mother's pie crust recipe, which is pretty cool. It's 2.5 cups of flour, 12 tablespoons of butter, and 6 ounces of cream cheese in a food processor. Just turn that baby on and let it go. It'll come together as a dough. When it does, you transfer it to your board and knead it just a bit. You're going to form that in 2 large discs, wrap them in plastic, and refrigerate them for an hour. For the filling, I mix together 1/4 cup of sugar, 3 tablespoons of flour, 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, a tablespoon of lemon zest, and a pinch of salt. Mix all that together, set it aside. I have a pint of freshly washed blueberries. I'm going to sprinkle 1/4 cup of sugar on top and let that sit for 30 minutes. Then I've got 2 pounds of Granny Smith apples, which I will quickly peel, core, and slice, as if. Now I'll transfer the apples to a bowl along with 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, the blueberries, and the sugar mixture. Mix all that together and set it aside for now. I'm going to roll out one of the dough discs larger than my pie pan, put it in the pie pan, and push it down on the bottom and let it overhang over the side. Next, the apple mixture goes in. I'll start by covering the bottom with apples, and I'll fill all the rest in just like that. Lovely. Then I'll set that aside for just a moment while I roll out the other piece of dough for the strips. I use my pastry cutter to cut these into multiple uniform strips just like that, and then I'm going to create a nice latticework pattern over the top of my pie. I simply crisscross and overlap the strips until it all comes together into a nice latticework pattern, just like that. Now I crimp the edges together, and then I create a nice little fluted pattern by using 2 fingers and my thumb. And then I'm going to flatten the flute on half the pie for the numbers to sit on. Next, I'll cut my pie symbol using a template I printed, nice and neat. I'm going to brush the entire crust with beaten egg, then I'll put my little pie shape in the middle and brush that with egg as well. I'll sprinkle a little sugar on top and preheat the oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I tint my pie completely with aluminum foil for the first 40 minutes, then after 40 minutes I take that off and let it go for another 15 to 20 minutes until golden brown. While that's baking, I'm going to roll out a smaller piece of dough to cut out my numbers. I use my number pastry cutter and cranked out a ton of numbers using pi up top for reference. Once my pie is baked, I'll set it on a rack to fully cool, and I'll put my numbers on a baking sheet and brush them with a little egg wash. They're going to go in the oven for 15 minutes. When they come out, they'll be nice and toasty, just like that. Let them cool completely, and then I'm going to liberally dust them with some confectioner's sugar. Once I've done that, I'll put a little buttercream on the back of each one of my numbers, and I'll symbol them roughly in the order of pi, 3.14159, and so on. Once I get all that done, my pie is done. So fun, right? So happy Pie Day, everybody. Enjoy. The recipe's down below or on my website at WayneBites.com.